Howdy, folks. I got some news for you from you today from the Epoch Times, and I'm going to have this programmed to read it. This is about TSA to continue requiring COVID-19 vaccine proof for non-U.S. citizens to enter country. United States now the only Western country to require COVID-19 vaccine proof of entry. And here we go.
TSA to continue requiring COVID-19 vaccine proof for non-U.S. citizens to enter country. The U.S. Transportation Security Administration has extended its COVID-19 vaccine proof requirement for non-U.S., non-immigrant citizens flying to enter the United States, making the United States the only Western country and among the few remaining countries in the world still to require such proof for entry. The latest TSA security directive states that effective to at least January 8, 2023, aircraft operators must require each non-U.S., non-immigrant citizen to present paper or digital documentation for proof of being fully vaccinated against COVID-19, or documentation proving the person is accepted from taking the vaccine, before boarding a flight to the United States. A non-immigrant means not a U.S. citizen, U.S. national, lawful permanent resident, or traveling to the United States on an immigrant visa. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, being fully vaccinated means having had an accepted single-dose vaccine or a second dose of an accepted two-dose series at least 14 days ago. A booster dose is not needed to meet the requirement. It comes after the Biden administration in June dropped its requirement for air travelers entering the United States to test negative for COVID-19, meaning a person with the disease could still be allowed into the country, provided they have proof of vaccination. The latest security directive largely matches that of the previous TSA security directive that was made effective from November 8, 2021, and is to expire on November 8, after which the new directive will take effect. Few countries still require vaccine proof. While the vast majority of countries have dropped COVID-19 vaccine proof requirements for entry, the United States and a few other countries around the world continue to require them for non-citizens, with no alternate avenues for the unvaccinated, such as requiring proof of immunity against COVID-19, a negative test, or a quarantine period instead. These other countries include Pakistan, Indonesia, Ghana, and Liberia. In the latest security directive, the TSA maintained language saying that the policies, alongside the CDC's technical instructions and President Joe Biden's proclamation issued in October 2021, are intended to limit the risk that COVID-19, including variants of the virus that causes COVID-19, is introduced, transmitted, and spread into and throughout the United States. The policies will advance the safety and security of travelers, government workers, and air travel industry workers while allowing the world's economies to recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the TSA security directive reads. Vaccines do not prevent transmission. COVID-19 policies and restrictions have shifted in recent months in the United States to no longer differentiate vaccinated and unvaccinated in mitigation measures, amid acknowledgement by officials and the general population that COVID-19 vaccines do not or no longer prevent transmission. In July, the CDC adjusted its mask guidance to require people to wear masks in some areas even if they are fully vaccinated against the virus that causes the disease. At the time, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky told reporters that new research from several U.S. states and other countries indicate that on rare occasions some vaccinated people infected with the Delta variant after vaccination may be contagious and spread the virus to others. The CDC in early August had made revisions to its COVID-19 prevention guidance such that it no longer differentiates based on a person's vaccination status, because breakthrough infections occur, though they are generally mild, and persons who have had COVID-19 but are not vaccinated have some degree of protection against severe illness from their previous infection. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky in August had noted that COVID-19 vaccines can no longer prevent transmission. She told CNN in an interview, "Our vaccines are working exceptionally well. They continue to work well for Delta with regard to severe illness and death, they prevent it. But what they can't do anymore is prevent transmission." Waning efficacy. The COVID-19 vaccines have proven increasingly ineffective to protect against infection and showed waning efficacy in protecting against hospitalization and severe illness amid newly emerging variants. This prompted the governments of many countries to recommend boosters and subsequent boosters throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the new bivalent boosters from Pfizer BioNTech and Moderna, which were intended to enhance protection against Omicron and its different subvariants, haven't been tested in humans at all. While the updated boosters triggered higher levels of antibodies than the old boosters when tested on mice, the trials didn't provide any efficacy estimates for protection against infection or severe illness. The CDC and its partner, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, have aggressively promoted vaccination during the pandemic, even when little evidence supports the vaccines. The agencies have also repeatedly refused to release COVID-19 vaccine safety data, the Epoch Times previously reported. The Epoch Times has found that officials in the United States are continuing to spread misinformation about COVID-19 vaccines, including unsupported or misleading statements about vaccine effectiveness and safety. Zachary Stieber and Eva Fu contributed to this report.
Now, see, the thing about it here, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration have aggressively promoted vaccine during the pandemic, even when there is little evidence supports the vaccines. The agency have also repeatedly refused to release COVID-19 vaccination safety data. Why? Are they hiding something? Said here, it said the officials in the United States are continuing to spread misinformation about COVID-19 vaccines, including unsupported and misleading statements about vaccine effectiveness and safety. You know, it's all bullcrap. Anyway, what I have, the question is if you fly in and out of the airport, you got to have the vaccine. And if you cross the border, southern border from Mexico, you don't need a vaccine. So why not fly to Mexico and walk across the border? Makes sense to me. Anyway, here is her some comments over here. I'd like to read to you. Oops, sorry. And let's see. I won't read all of them, but a few of them. Here's one here. It says, so these folks can just fly into Mexico and walk across the border where there is no such requirement. The hypocrisy of the left is staggering. Here's another one. Good, I'm glad. It's just a few more industries that are negatively affected by Democrats' policies. All the more reason for travel-related workers and professionals to vote for anyone but a Democrat. Here's another one. A lesson here is sneak across. Boom, you're in. And you can get a free phone and a lovely parting gift. Here's another one. And keep this in mind. Someone who is flying to the U.S. had to be clear through their ID to board the flight. Next time you're in the airport, physically profile a lot of those TSA workers. Very fat, full of nose rings, tattoos galore, wild hairdos, dressed sloppy. Would you hire them if they walked into your business and wanted a job? And I mean, what are the qualifications? A heartbeat? Well, that's the qualification for Walmart. Maybe TSA too. Here's another one. These traitors and criminals against humanity will seek justice very soon, and there will absolutely be no amnesty. Let's see. Here's another one here. TSA is the U.S. version of the Gestapo. Put TSA on the southern border, checking all 10 million of the illegals walking or being smuggled across our unsecure borders. We need to have policies and laws that makes sense and protect us, protect U.S. citizens. We do not need untrue science running government tyranny as a policy. Here's another one. Except at our borders. there's another one. I'll get down to a good one, then I'll quit reading them. Ridiculous indeed. Open borders, disease, drugs, criminals. Are you kidding? Liberal idiots. I kind of like that one here. And let's see. The illegals entering via the southern border are not given the shot because they are meant to replace the millions of American citizens who are likely to die and are to be sterile due to the injections they were forced or otherwise considered to take. If they were made to take the injections as well, the WEF's labor force and source of offsprings from fertile illegal women, many already gang raped and by cartels, guides, and are others being illegal, should be lost. There certain is a method to their madness. And here's one of my favorite comment. Anybody checking the 5 million illegal border crossers for their COVID-19 vaccine shot card? I'll tell you what, we could eliminate TSA. I'm 80 and I had a knee replacement last January on a flight to Las Vegas. TSA detained me and searched me as if I was headed to the big house. I told them about my metal knee. I told them to look at the 12-inch scar. But they fondled my genitals, swathed my hands, interviewed me for 10 minutes, stared at me like they were trying to read my face. Went through my carry-on piece by piece. I've never been arrested. I have a valid California ID driver's license. But I look like just a regular old white man. That must be it. You know, it's a joke. It's all a joke. This is why I don't fly, you know. I don't board planes or go to airports. I don't. Here's another one, good one too. And you didn't quiver before their authorities. They don't like people who refuse to meekly submit to their abuse. I believe that TSA makes a point of hiring people who were snubbed or otherwise mistreated in high school and who enjoy being able to get back at anyone they please now. That's what I always thought about cops years ago. I haven't flown since 2001, but simply because I have a French-Canadian last name. I'm fourth-generation American citizen. I was subject to similar treatment, except that groping. One of the agents pawing through my carry-on bag put latex gloves on before they started. I told him he had better not approach me with those on, smiling to allow him to think it was a joke. These days it appeared to be common. Yeah, saying that TSA was smiling to allow him to think it was a joke. Anyway, well, one more. As a non-vet, I'm sorry for the indignities. We went halfway around the world to stop these dominoes from failing at home, but the chosen liberals left hijacked the natural anti-war protests, our efforts with propaganda, and there we are, 60 years later, a psychopathic, senile lifetime liar as fourth figure in the unparalleled and power with the symbolistic, anyway, of tech surveillance and censorship. This is the only beginning of the indignity Americans are going to endure if they can't reach down between their legs and figure out what's there. Anyway, folks, that's all I got for you now, today. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.